Hey, everybody. We're about to get started, but before that, we have an ad.
Yes, this week's episode is presented by Eternal Confidence, an interview series by Homesick Productions, now available on YouTube.
Yes, Eternal Confidence explores what we believe and why. It features interviews with people of faith as well as people who left their faith behind.
It's kind of like what we do, but probably more serious.
Yeah, it's true. I liked the vibe they gave off. I thought it was very similar to I think what we're going for. They're not biased.
Yeah.
We kind of are, but still try to show that here's another.
I'm fine being biased. Eternal Confidence brings an unbiased perspective, taking a no stance, thereby inviting the audience to respond to the various narratives with their own beliefs. That's great. I mean, it's nice to have an unbiased look at these things.
Yeah,
we try and be impartial, but we don't always succeed.
I think what we're trying to do is hey, we're trying not to be biased, but here's our biases, but they're I really liked they did that one where it was the minister father talking to their gay pagan daughter, and that was I
really enjoyed that one, and they're focused on being both empathetic and honest, and it's a candid look at genuine beliefs, and it helps people explore their own belief system, as well as the other side.
Yeah, go check them out. Let them know that hey, believe it or not, send us.
Yeah, and they're just starting their second season, so
yeah,
I mean, go check it out. There's a whole season to start with,
and then
if you like it,
watch
season 2.
Watch season 1. Watch season 2. And then, check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. If you're into this show, I think you'll be into that.
And hey, when you go check it out, leaving your comment that Believe It or Not sent you, because that's good for everyone. But we'll see.
America needs a tidal wave of the old-time religion.
I have sinned against you.
How dare you! We have no need to doubt God.
The harlot Babylon is preparing the nations to receive the Antichrist.
I didn't even build that house with money from the church. I built it with money from my book.
I don't make this stuff up.
Repenting of your sin.
It is a moral issue.
They got together and swore a pact to the devil.
I just enjoy seeing people worship, praising God.
Hey everybody, welcome to
Believe It or Not.
I'm Trevor Poelman.
And I'm the other guy.
That's Damien Doepping.
Thank you.
We're here to help you believe it.
Or not. Or maybe you do.
Yeah, maybe we do.
But maybe you don't.
We have a studio audience with us today.
Live studio audience. Yep.
Hey. Yeah. Please don't talk while we're recording. Thank you.
Don't get on mic.
Yeah. It's not in your place. Let's start off with a reading. Very special.
A cold reading?
I could do a cold reading.
Are you going to do a cold reading?
No, but that'd be great.
Okay, what kind of reading are we doing?
It's a passage
from the Velveteen Bunny.
From the that I found.
Brer Rabbit.
As I walk through the valley where I harvest my grain.
I take a look at my wife and realize she's very plain.
But that's just perfect for an Amish like me. I shun fancy things like electricity.
At 4:30 in the morning, I'm milking cows.
Jebediah feeds the chickens, and Jacob plows. Fool. And I've been milking and plowing so long that even Ezekiel thinks that my mind is gone.
Yeah, I'm a man of the land.
I'm into discipline.
Is this really the reading we're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Got a Bible in my hand and a beard on my chin. Anyways, I'm going to talk about Anabaptists. Do you know what an Anabaptist is?
No. Is that like the Animatrix?
It's kind of like the Animatrix. So Anabaptist means re-baptized.
Oh.
Or baptized again.
Yeah.
And it was like a...
Baptism 2 Electric Boogaloo?
Basically, it's Baptism 2 Electric Boogaloo.
All right.
So these are the kind of people that eventually split off into the Amish, the Mennonites, Hutterites, if you know them.
Hutterites? Too Hutterite to Totterite?
Yeah. Hutterites were popular when I lived in Alberta. There was a lot of Hutterites around, and they would always... My dad liked auction sales, and they would always be at the auction sales buying things, and they'd always drive around in these giant vans.
Yeah.
And then Amish, of course, it's like a horse and buggy.
Yeah.
Mennonites...
Which is the OG van.
That's exactly. You don't see a lot of Mennonite colonies anymore, I don't think. Mennonites are more just your regular type of Christian now. Like there's still a lot of Mennonites, but they're not necessarily living in like a community like in the olden times. Yeah. But there's still same kind of background, same kind of roots.
Yep.
Started around the same time as the Reformation.
Right.
So like in the 1500s. Well, what's his name? Martin Luther, quote unquote, nails his 95 Thesis to the wall. Nailed it. Hashtag nailed it.
Is that where that came from?
Yeah, that's where that came from. Yeah, it's about him nailing his thesis on the wall on November 1st of whatever year that was. But he didn't really do that.
Oh, he didn't?
That's just a story made up years later.
So then what happened?
Which I found out recently. He was a Reformationist. He wanted the church to change, and he was constantly on their case about changing. He was a priest, and he's like, we need to change this. But there was no like epic, I'm going to walk up and nail this thing on a wall. It was just like a guy who wanted change to happen. And so he spoke out, and then there was fights and stuff.
Wow.
But this is kind of around the same time, and they wanted to take it really a step further. So they thought there was certain things in the church that needed to be changed, that were
the drapes,
like the drapes, and they wanted to get back to kind of what the church meant early on, and let's get rid of all this stupid tradition that we just added on.
Fair,
which is what. Kind of how the Jehovah's Witnesses started too, right? Like, they're like, okay, let's strip it back. Let's just do what the Bible says.
This seems to be a running theme in Christianity.
Yeah, let's do a hard reset.
Yeah. It's like when your computer gets too buggy and you're like, I just got to do a hard reset. Unplug it for a few seconds, plug it back in, see what happens.
Exactly. Yep. So, 1527 in Switzerland is kind of where they say it really started.
The Swiss
did it, but there's like kind of arguments about if it has a single origin there or if it's more like so many different changes all around and then they kind of join
into one.
Yeah, exactly.
Super
like
change.
Yeah, like all the little pieces of the Terminator join into two when they all join together
into one thing.
Because there was also a lot of talk about this early on throughout the Middle Ages of what baptism is. And when we should be baptized, and the big thing that got them.
They just dunk babies, don't they?
Yeah, well, that's what they didn't like. They didn't like that they dunked babies because they said in the Bible it's supposed to be you're converting,
right? And you can't convert a baby.
Yeah, so it has to be when you understand.
Which I do have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Have you seen that video about that? Like, I don't know if he's like a Ukrainian priest or something, like bishop or whatever, like just dunking that baby. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then
the Big Lebowski.
Yeah, they cut it with the Big Lebowski. That's so good.
Where's the money, Lebowski? and then he dunks a baby.
Yeah. So what was it? Zwingli? Some guy was one of the big Ulrich Zwingli.
Terrible comics.
It's kind of the first guy who was like, nope. Let's not dunk babies anymore. Let's not sprinkle on babies anymore, which the Catholics and Protestants both did.
Not sprinkle on babies. Oh, that's both hilarious and gross.
Yeah. But it was also the problem there is you become a citizen at your baptism at this point. So it's not like a birth certificate. It's like you get your baptism certificate, and that's how you get your citizenship.
Oh,
so he's not only challenging
separation of church and state. That's what I say.
Yeah, exactly. And they were kind of challenging. Yeah, they were kind of for the separation of church and state.
Thank you, Switzerland.
Yeah. This idea is spreading all across Europe, and governments are getting angry, and there's a lot of persecution. That's what the name Anabaptist was, kind of a derogatory term for like people getting second baptized. They would say, no, we're not getting second baptized because the first one doesn't count.
Right.
Which is kind of what my parents...
It's not a do-over if the first one doesn't count.
Because I was baptized twice. I was baptized as a baby. My parents changed churches, and then I was baptized as a teenager.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was weird.
Did they do it in a lake?
Yeah. No, in St. Lawrence River.
Did they actually?
Yeah. I was baptized in St. Lawrence River.
Movies.
Yeah.
Did you have to wear all white?
No.
Did you have to wear the same gown from when you were a baby?
No. I was just in whatever clothes I was wearing.
That'd be really
and
funny.
It was weird.
You just walk into the lake or the river and then they dunk you?
Yeah. I went to a baptism a couple years ago. A loved one of mine was getting baptized, so I went to kind of support them, and I had already walked away from the faith. And there was a kid getting baptized as well, and it was also in the St. Lawrence River. And he changed his mind and said he didn't want to do it. And they basically like forced him in the water, and everybody's laughing about how cute it was and stuff. I'm like, no, you're missing the point.
Waterboarding a child.
Exactly. Me and my brother are looking at each other like, what the fuck is happening right now? This is weird. Yeah. But yeah, and I think they'd be against this too, actually, because it was supposed to be like, you're of sound mind.
Yeah, and if you say no, consent is important, people.
Yeah, even with baptism.
Especially with baptism.
Yeah. And so this
you don't let Jesus in unless you give him consent.
Yeah, exactly. So these guys start, doing their rebaptizing kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or their first baptism. They start calling themselves the Brethren. And it still exists, like Brethren in Christ, things like that. Yep. The Brethren churches.
What about the cistern?
The cistern?
Wait, the cistern? No, that's not right. That's not right.
The cistern church. Yeah. I'd go there. But
is this excluding the ladies?
No, it included them, and I think they actually had a lot more say in the churches
even though
than
it was
a lot
called
of
the Brethren.
Yeah,
okay.
A lot of other ones. I could be wrong about that, but I feel like there was a little bit more like women could do things because it's illegal, and because these organizations are illegal. There's a lot of fighting,
right?
And so they started fractioning off within like the more passive ones, like no, the Bible says we're not supposed to fight, so we're not going to fight. And that's where Menno Simmons came in. This is the guy who started Mennonites.
Richard Simmons.
Yeah.
Great-grandfather.
Richard Simmons' great-grandfather, Menno Simmons. Okay, remember in the youth ministry episode we were talking about Underground Church, that stupid game?
Yep.
I was in one called a Menno Run.
A Menno Run.
And it was run by a Mennonite church. It was basically Underground Church, but they called it Menno Run. And it was about how their organization they'd have to be run in secret. So we had to like run across this town and be part of the early Mennonites. It's a really weird thing.
It sounds like a fun thing to do.
Yeah. But a lot of their religion was based, like a lot of their tradition and stuff, they still talk about a lot of the persecution that happened within their church at the time.
I think most religions have a bit of a persecution complex.
Yeah, they do. Mormons have a huge one. I remember arguing with someone about, I don't know, something with a Mormon online, and they immediately went to how Mormons were persecuted early on. It's like, okay, even if that's true, that's bad, but that doesn't mean you have to persecute gay people now or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Like,
if anything, you think having been persecuted, you should be more likely to not persecute people.
Yeah, exactly.
Or less likely to persecute.
Yeah. But
maybe not. I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
If you're a psychologist, email us at
believe it or not podcast@gmail.com.
Tell us about
that's what it is. Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. So they started formulating around like Low German areas, Netherlands. So the Mennonites kind of started in that area. Dutch Mennonites, Dutch Amish.
Yeah.
Like the Pennsylvania Dutch or German.
Is that where that's from?
That's from. Okay. That's from there. So they moved there. Ammon was another guy, and that's the Amish started from him.
So these things came from two guys just with names that are
exactly. And even Hutter was a guy. So the Hutterite community was named after him. But all kind of the same theology of like separation from society and separation from kind of the rest of the church, really.
So they're like libertarian Christians.
Yeah. And with Amish, one of the big things was they wanted to shun people more who disagreed with them and shun family members and stuff. And that's kind of why they're a separate group, because these other organizations weren't about that, and they were more about
more open, yeah.
Menno especially viewed like the church as the bride of Christ and wanted to bring it back to that. That was kind of a main thing of his theology.
The bride of Christ?
Yeah, because that's something that's mentioned in the Bible, is that we are the bride of Christ, and so he wanted it to be more like a loving like relationship. Like that's
such a weird way to put things, is that you're the bride of Christ.
Yeah, we would sing songs too in church about being the bride of Christ, and
that's so strange.
Yeah,
I don't think I can get behind.
And like that's the only time only people have sex are married people, right? In the church, or the only people who are supposed to have sex is married people. So we're supposed to be having sex
with Jesus.
Come on, come on. And yeah, Menno was big on
that water and the wine, lifts me up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Was it Jim Gaffigan? What can you do with this oregano, Jesus? I think I've made that joke before.
Make a pizza.
Oh. Hey guys, breaking up in the middle of this episode to remind you again to check out Eternal Confidence on YouTube.
Yeah, if you forgot what we said at the beginning,
here we go.
Eternal Confidence, it's the interview series by Homesick Productions that's available on YouTube.
It explores what we believe and why. It features interviews with people of faith as well as people who have left their faith behind, like me.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing this unbiased, unlike us. We're very biased, and with our very biased opinion, we think that you should check this out.
Mm-hmm. We're unbiased in that I want you to listen. No, that doesn't make any sense.
If I was unbiased, I would still tell you to.
Yes,
check it out. But they're in their second season now, so
yeah, check them out. Check out. I like some of their because as someone who left their faith, it's neat to see how other people left their faith and hear their story about that. So I found that really interesting. And
as someone who has no faith or had no faith, it's nice to see what other people do.
Yeah. Leave a comment on their YouTube channel saying that Believe It or Not sent you. And thanks everyone.
Okay, love you.
Back to your regular scheduled thing. Jacob Ammon was the guy who started the Amish, and that was in 1693. He said that shunning and banning people wasn't done enough in the church, and that was one of the big problems.
Wasn't done enough.
Not enough banning and shunning.
Man, I think people who shun just love shunning.
Yeah.
Is shunning a thing in the Bible, or is that just something that people started doing?
Well, I mean, there's references to it. Kind of, Jesus says to turn your back on your family and follow him, and to leave your family behind and follow him. Yeah.
I don't mean to disparage people's belief systems, but that's a pretty culty thing to say.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah.
I am the leader. Follow me. Ignore your family, and I am your new family.
I think that's one of the key things to identify if something is a cult is if you're denying people access to their family or to the outside world.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And then there was a big schism in the Amish community, kind of in the 18th century. Because I was thinking about this too as I was researching it. Like, okay, I've never really thought of the fact that these religions started in the 1600s, and now a big part of it is they can't use electricity. But electricity didn't exist then, so how does that come about? And it was like in the 1800s there was a big schism of do we
adopt
this? Yeah. And a lot of people ended up joining other Mennonite organizations when they disagreed with Amish on that kind of thing. So the Amish now that don't use electricity or don't use like motorized vehicles, things like that, they'll, they're from that schism.
Yeah.
Side note, my dad buys his lumber from an Amish community.
Well, they make a lot of furniture.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's the Amish furniture warehouse? Is that what they call it? Amish furniture warehouse?
Maybe.
Are they really Amish people who make that? Or is it? Okay.
I think so. Maybe that place is just like Amish patterns that they follow. But a lot of times, a lot of Amish communities make their money doing
a lot of
but
good quality furniture.
Yeah, and
if I could afford it, I'd buy it.
Yeah. Well, this community that my dad was talking to, they're allowed to use motorized engines for certain things.
Yep.
So my dad helped them set up for their sawmill,
right?
Because they had to convince it with they had to talk it through with the board or whatever, the elders or whatever they're called, and get permission, but they ended up saying it was okay to use the motor for the sawmill, but you can't use it to go into town. You have to use a horse and buggy for that.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Also weird that
do we know why they don't allow them to use technology?
I think it's about... That's a good question. I think it has to do with... I mean, one of the things all these people have in common is that Christ is returning soon, and you don't want to get caught up in worldly things, and you want to separate yourself from the world and society. So there's that, but if
God created everything, didn't he create all these worldly things that are cool and fun?
Yeah, exactly.
And make your life easier?
Have you even played Angry Birds?
And increase your life expectancy and all that stuff. So by denying it, you're denying the Lord and his gifts.
You really are.
In a way, I'm just saying it seems to be a cyclical logic.
Yeah. It really is. Yeah.
But what do I know?
Yeah.
I'm a
what
heathen.
Do I know too?
I assume. Am I a heathen? What's the definition?
I think you are. Yeah.
Okay,
I think we're both heathens. Yeah, we'd be heathens. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Not pagan. No, we're not pagan because we don't worship pagan gods.
We could.
Yeah, if we wanted.
I'm open to it.
Yeah, I celebrate pagan holidays like Christmas and Easter. And then during Second World War, a lot of issues came up with
bombs,
Amish and or even both world wars. With as soon as a draft comes in, Amish Mennonite, like a lot of your passive people, you're not gonna want to join the army, so they're exempt a lot of times from...
Oh, they were exempt?
Yeah.
So they weren't draft dodging, they were exempt.
Yeah, I think a lot of... If you're in those kind of religious organizations, you're allowed to not be in the army, but that still causes a lot of tension with other people.
Yeah, but if you're Japanese, you're thrown into an internment camp.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great. And then Jacob Hutter was... Hutterites, but he was also a martyr. He was burned at the stake for his beliefs. Yeah, in
you don't hear about stake burning anymore.
No, you really don't. Like
too many greenhouse gases.
I mean,
maybe.
I think Salem kind of.
Well, we got it all out.
We got it all out of our system.
I don't know if we did, but it happened.
There's also on Game of Thrones. There was some burning at the stake.
Never seen it.
Good show.
Don't even know what it is.
Wizards and there's no wizards with dragons and stuff.
Dragons.
Yeah.
Dragons.
Yeah, I think so. That's Anabaptism in a nutshell.
Yeah,
it's still a lot of Mennonite churches, a lot of Brethren churches, a lot of churches that have their theology kind of set in these kind of ideas, and also a lot of Protestant churches now do adult baptism. So even if they didn't actually stem from this, these people open the door to their theology. And
does a baptism cost anything?
No, it depends on the church.
So if you just walk in and say, "I'd like one baptism,
please." Baptism, please. Yeah, a lot of churches will have like Baptism Sunday. Like, hey, we're doing baptism this week. Everybody come out.
Is there like a sign-up sheet?
There's a sign-up sheet, and then you have to go through classes sometimes.
It's like a bad open mic.
Yeah, and also like I was Googling too how baptism started, because it's not really in the Old Testament. All of a sudden, John the Baptist is baptizing people before Jesus shows up.
Yeah,
but
he's just trying to have a bath, and everyone kept bugging him.
Yeah, but I guess there were like cleansing rituals in the Old Testament, and he was adapting those. He was part of like a sect that was trying to convert people into Judaism, and part of it was cleansing, this ritual cleansing that eventually became baptism, and then early Christians adapted that to them as like a cleansing ritual. And then when I went through my classes to be baptized, they told me that it was a symbolism of dying and then being risen from the dead.
I've heard that before,
which doesn't seem like that's actually accurate in any historical context, but
no.
Yeah,
but it sounds good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you need a reason, I guess.
That's right.
Yeah.
It really gets the kids going.
How
many classes did you have to take?
I feel like there was 5.
Like, how long?
Like a couple weeks. Yeah.
Wait. Like, so 5 classes each a couple weeks, or a couple weeks for all 5?
A couple weeks for all 5 of these.
So, like, was it like a day every week that you do?
Yeah, it was like a Wednesday night. You'd stick around for an extra half hour and do these baptism classes. Yeah. And fill out questionnaires and stuff like that. And then you have to, like, when you get baptized in the church that I went to anyway, you had to give your testimony, and you had to talk about why you're being baptized and how you came to Christ. And
oh, you have to like lay it all out.
Yeah.
In front of a bunch of people?
In front of a bunch of people.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't like that
So
either.
yeah, because like a lot of them would either be in a couch off at church, so they bring a couch off on stage and put some curtains around it to like cover it up, or if it was in the summer, they'd do it in the river.
Yeah.
And I chose the river one, and then so you just stand on the shore, you give your testimony there, and they have a little PA set up,
wow.
and then you go into the river and you're baptized.
Hi, my name's Trevor.
Yeah.
I'm here for the baptism special. Wash and die.
I wonder if my uncle still has the video of my baptism.
But there's a video of it.
Yeah. So my uncle recorded it, and it's probably still out there somewhere, my testimony and stuff. I've never seen it. Yeah, but I remember he did record it. He had, those old camcorders that had like the big screen, and then it had like the thing on the side that swiveled back and forth.
Yeah.
It was, and we're like, this is the most high-tech thing I've ever seen.
And it was.
Yeah, and it had the 8mm film that you stick on the side. Oh. Anyways.
If you can find that, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
And we'll see what a real-life Trevor baptism is like.
Yeah. Whew.
And
we'll put it on our YouTube channel.
Okay, we can do that too. We'll watch it first, just in case.
Yeah, exactly. Let's move on to a brand new segment.
Oh my God, brand new?
Brand new segment. It's called Have I Sinned?
If sugar's so bad, how come Jesus made it taste so good?
I'm going to give you a scenario.
All right.
And
I'm ready
then
for it.
You're going to tell me if I have sinned.
Right. If you have sinned.
Yeah.
Okay.
I go to the mall. Mm-hmm. Have I sinned?
Yes.
Yes, it was on a Saturday. Exodus 31:14.
Okay, you didn't say that.
Says, "Ye shall keep the Sabbath, therefore it is holy unto you. Surely ye shall be put to death for..."
So the Sabbath is Saturday.
Yeah.
Then what's Sunday?
Sunday is the day the Lord rose from the dead. It's a new Sabbath.
Oh, so Saturday is no longer the Sabbath then?
I guess not under the new covenant.
So Saturday and Sunday are the Sabbath?
Kind of, yeah.
That's confusing.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2 whole days. What are you supposed to do? When are you going to do your laundry?
Exactly. Oh, I didn't do my laundry today.
Okay, next question.
I'm at a store, and I see a funny T-shirt for $10.
Ooh, it probably had...
So I buy it.
Probably had some bad words on it. You sinned.
And it was a poly cotton blend, so I sinned, because in Leviticus 19:19 it says, "Do not wear clothing woven by 2 kinds of material."
Why?
I don't know. It's just sin.
Why? Why is that a sin?
Then you're mixing fibers. Can you imagine anything worse?
You're not answering me. You're just reiterating the same point.
Things aren't sins because they have purposes. Things are sins because God said they're sins.
Okay. I guess God hated textiles.
Yeah. After I buy the shirt, I see a pair of cool ripped jeans for $20. I was going to use the $20 for a haircut, but I got the jeans instead. Have I sinned?
Do you have to keep your hair neat and trim, or does God not like torn jeans?
Both.
Both
are sins. God doesn't like ripped clothing, and he doesn't like it when your hair is unkempt.
Didn't he have super long hair?
Yeah, he did.
That sounds contradictory.
Mm-hmm.
Or is it just the white Jesus image that we know and love?
Probably the white Jesus image we know and love.
Right.
Yeah. And that was in Leviticus 10, verse 6. But anyways, I go to the food court and I sit down.
Probably not kosher? Is it a sin?
Yes, because a menstruating woman could have sat there. And you're not supposed to sit on any thing that a menstruating woman has sat on.
I feel like that's almost impossible to avoid.
Yeah.
Unless you have your own chair that you carry around everywhere that you built.
Yeah. That's what the guy from Year of Living Biblically did.
Really?
He brought a chair around with him everywhere because he didn't know.
Oh, I would hate that guy.
Yeah.
I know he was doing it for a reason, but if I saw that guy on the subway or something, I'd be like, fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, at first I'd be like, oh, that's smart. And he's like, hey, good idea. It's like, yeah, I do it so I don't sit anywhere where someone who menstruated sat. Then I would hate him.
Yeah. And then when I'm at the food court, I buy Chinese food. Have I sinned?
Yes, because it's different food, I guess.
Yeah, I had shrimp, and I had shrimp and broccoli, and I had sweet and sour pork.
Wait. Broccoli and...
Shrimp's a sin, but shrimp and broccoli is what I got.
Oh. I'm like, why is broccoli a sin? I mean, I bet there's some 6-year-olds right now listening who are like, I hope broccoli's a sin.
Well, broccoli would be a sin if it was planted in a field, if it was grown in a field where other things were grown, because you're not supposed to grow two types of vegetables in the same field.
But isn't crop diversity good for soil health?
Yes, it's very good for it.
So they're just trying to make the land untillable.
All this unmixing thing, do you think?
It's very pure.
Yeah.
Yes, this seems very. Oh boy.
So I eat my food of sin, and I decide to leave them all.
Yeah.
And
did you get a Cinnabon? Because that is a sin, and we know
for
that.
My thighs.
That's right. It's anything this good has to be a sin.
But a guy walks up to me, and he has a slave, and he says, "Do you want to buy this slave?"
Whoa!
So I buy a slave. Have I sinned?
What do you?
I now own another human being. Have I sinned?
I'm guessing that this isn't a sin.
No, that's perfectly fine according to the Bible. You're allowed to own slaves.
Right. But not the law.
Yeah. So you're not supposed to break the law.
Is that a sin? To break the law?
Well, no, because you're allowed to break the law if it's because the law goes against the word of God.
So
gray area.
Lincoln went against God?
Yeah, I guess so.
Is that what we're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
And he paid the price. All right.
Oh, no. Can we bring this back?
I don't think so. Thanks, everybody. If you like this one, tell your friends about it.
Yeah, and you know what? Sin a little.
Yeah. Live a little, sin a little.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good.
Yeah. I could really do with a Cinnabon now, though.
Yeah. Let's go get some Cinnabon.
I'll see you next week.
Or see you at Cinnabon.
Next other week.
Oh.
Bye.
Work, Sky Moon.